Welcome to Short Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting everyday people sharing a slice of life from their perspective.
My name is Ken Sutton, and I am a poet, and I use the name the Bard of Machipongo, and I'd like to tell the story of how I acquired the name. I was at the Clam Shack. It was the second time I was reading poetry there, and Peg Voke had asked me what was I called, and I said Ken because that's my name, and she said no, and she pointed to Cynthia Lewis and she said, that's Cynthia Lewis, but when she's on stage she's the poet Sin. What do you call? And I said, just go with Ken. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bard of Machipongo, and that's how I got the name. And I've been enjoying the name. When I'm over in Norfolk, I get to tell people where Machipongo is. 2.5 miles south of Nassauanix, which usually gets a laugh.
Did the hats come in before you became the Bard? Were they always a part of you?
I've always liked a Greek fisherman's hat.
Uh-huh.
And here's the story of the hat and its accoutrements. This I found at a yard sale. It cost me $0.25. I put it on the hat. It used to sit level, okay. This I found in the parking lot, and I figured, well, I can put it on the hat. And I put it on the hat. The alligator holds it in place here, that holds it in place there. And this I found at a knick-knack store and stuck it on there. So that is an official Bard hat, because after all, Bard's right with, So, but it's just like, I've got $5 in this hat because I found the hat. I got the hat at a thrift shop in Cape Cod.
Folks who do not know what a Bard is.
That's easy.
Can we tell them what a Bard is?
Yeah, it's a guy with big eyebrows. See these eyebrows? Look at them. They're just really shocking, and that's what a Bard is. A guy with big eyebrows. The Bard of Stratford-on-Avon is Shakespeare. A Bard is just an old English word that means poet. That's all.
How long have you been writing?
I started writing good poetry back in the 70s, and I say it was good poetry because other people told me it was good, and it got published on occasion. Then I started drinking. I had been drinking for some time, but my drinking began to interfere with my writing. Then my writing started to interfere with my drinking, so I just quit, and I was not a nice person for a long time.
So you quit the writing instead of quitting the drinking.
Right, and in 1988, I just decided I was no longer happy with the situation, and that's when I quit drinking, but I didn't go back to writing with any seriousness or intent or dedicate any time to it until I retired in 2012. And 2013, 6 months after I retired, I got serious about writing and went back to writing. And I've written a fair bit since then, gotten 2 books published. One break I had a stroke, and it was a serious one. And one of the things that they told me to do to get things working again was to exercise my fingers for dexterity. So I started telling a story, writing it up and typing it up. And I would type for half an hour and then spend a half an hour turning what I'd typed in, because it was just garbage, not because garbage to look at, because my coordination was that bad. And that got me started going on telling stories and what have you. I got started today on a poem. It's going to be about maple leaves and disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what made me think of it, but I thought of my experiences when I was about 8 years old of gathering up a bouquet of flaming red maple leaves, and I was so proud of how they looked. And they didn't look that way very long. They turned brown and they crumbled around the edges, kind of like I'm doing now because I'm a geezer. And anyway, so I thought that I would make up some kind of a poem that would deal with the red leaves and disappointment and the attempt to preserve beauty and its failure. The trick is not to have the thought. The trick is to write it down and then go back to it and go back to it and go back to it until finally you've got something worth showing some people. And then you show it to people, and a couple of them say, well, that doesn't make any sense. And you don't say, yes, you don't understand. No, that's not the right answer, because if you have to explain it, you have failed. So, yes, I need to fix that. What their idea that it needs to be fixed may be all wrong, but they put their finger right on the spot that needs to be fixed.
So how do you handle criticism from other people?
I listen to it. If it makes sense, use it. And if it doesn't make sense, blow it off. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. This is America. We have a right to be wrong. And we have a right to be heard. And we have a right to be right, you know. But if it really, really bothers me, then I need to think about it. Because they might be right. My irritation might not be because they're wrong, but because I don't want to admit I'm wrong. One thing that I would like to do, if I could, would be to promote the spoken word, not just poetry, but storytelling and what have you. Pointing out that the opportunities are here. We have open mics. Anybody wants to go up to an open mic and tell a story, they have my 100% encouragement. I do an open mic on Thursdays at the Clam Shack, the third Thursday of the month. And a really good night is when I only have to do a couple of poems. And there's all kinds of people crawling all over the place, wanting to get up there to the microphone. I've been doing it for a few years, and so far I've only had a couple of really good nights like that. Most of the time it's me and maybe one or two others. I'd like to see more. People are intimidated. They think, oh, well, I haven't written anything that's good enough. Well, maybe you haven't written anything that's good enough, but if you've got a favorite story or a favorite poem, get up there and tell it. It doesn't have to be the one you wrote. It's just the poem you're telling or the story you're telling. If you're having fun, there's a chance you're doing it right. And that applies to everything, but especially, now, having fun may mean hard work, but when you're through with it, then there's a sense of satisfaction. Then you're onto something.
This has been Shore Perspectives. For WESR Radio, I'm Kelley Gaskell.